Hello and welcome back to Desktop Publishing with QuarkXPress. My name is Martin Turner. Last time we looked at publishing a novel to a print-on-demand service such as Amazon's CreateSpace. And the natural follow-up question from that is, how do I publish it to Kindle or to an ePub? Now, there are two formats in both of those. One of them is fixed layout, the other is flow layout. Fixed layout is a much more advanced format, but it is paradoxically much easier to achieve. Because you simply duplicate the layout to a digital layout and you can export it directly exactly like an HTML5 publication. Not all readers support all the features of HTML5, so you've got to be careful. And in fact, most Kindle devices don't support fixed layout at all, which is why still most Kindle publications are done as flow format. This is the original format for ePubs and Kindles, and it's what we're going to look at today. It's more complicated to do, but we're still going to find we can easily do it within 10 minutes without any difficulties whatsoever. Well, let's go for it. Let's go back to the screen and we'll see we've got the same novel we had last time. Now, I've made one change. What I've done is I've copied in the cover and put it on a layer here, which you can't see right now. I've got this layer is got the keep runaround turned off, so it's not affecting the overall thing. But the reason for this is that the first page of an ePub or a Kindle is always taken as the cover, and that cover is far too plain. So I've copied that across, and there we go. Now, not much else we've got to do. You'll see I've got a panel called Reflow Tagging open up here. That's here in window Reflow Tagging. And I've got the lists up here. That's both going to be important. We don't need anything else. Now we go to layout. The first thing we do always is eBook metadata. Without this, your book will be called A Publication from QuarkXPress or something like that. So the Saxon Thief, author is me, that's Martin Turner. Publisher is Ingenious. Copyright, so Option G on a Mac for the copyright symbol. Copyright 2017, Martin Turner. You do not need an ISBN number. If you have one, that's great, but you can't reuse the same one from your physical one because the ISBN relates to the particular format of that book. Now I'm going to paste in from the back cover, and I'm going to type some keywords. So we're going to do Whitby, we're going to do Roxeter, we're going to do Cuthbert, we're going to do Hilda, we're going to do Anglo-Saxon, and we're going to do Staffordshire Hoard. That's hoard as treasure rather than a horde of people. I'm going to do OK. Now, the next thing we've got to do is we go to add pages to Reflow. Now, this is the most common mistake that people make when they are doing an ePub. They just export it without doing this and they get nothing at all. And you will get nothing at all because you've got to add the things to the Reflow. Let's go back and look at that. So adding pages to Reflow, I've got all pages. I want that. I'm going to add one article per story. Remember that one story is one flowing text. So the entire text of the novel is flowing through. It's just things like the contents, which are separate stories. Okay. That's going to take a moment, not very long. That's 220 pages done. Now, over here you'll see that the reflow tagging has been populated by this. What we've got here is various things. The first one is, so it doesn't do the cover, that's always in there, you can't change that. The first thing it's found is this picture I put in there after you saw it last time. And the second thing, is, let's just get off there, is the contents. Now, we don't want the contents because contents, again, is implicit in an ePub or a Kindle. So I'm going to delete that. It still remains in the document. It remains in the print file, but it's gone from the reflow. Over here, we've got, I think, a map. And we've got the text that goes with it. And then finally here is the component of the entire book. Now you can give those names if you want to, but there's absolutely no point because we're not using the article names. You can name the articles, you can just edit those using edit properties. I think you can edit these as well, you can name those, but you don't need to because we are going to use this list here, which we made for our table of contents in order to navigate around the document, remember. to be our table of contents. So now we are ready to export. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to File, Export As, and it's ePub. You'll see that the HTML5 publication and iOS app are great out because you can only do this from digital documents. We're still in the print layout. We haven't changed the layout. ePub, actually we'll go to Kindle, it's slightly more difficult, and we've got to first locate KindleGen or get KindleGen. Now KindleGen is Amazon's own Kindle generating app, and I've actually already downloaded it, otherwise it'll take you to the right place. So I just type into the search here on my Mac, KindleGen, and it's going to find that for me, and it's this app called KindleGen, and that just ensures that your document will be completely compliant. Now, you want us to know where to save this. I don't want to save it into the KindleGen folder. I'm going to save it into my folder. Now, a word of warning on this, because if you save to Kindle without first deleting your previous attempt to the same file, the Kindle app on the Mac at least will not open. It will just remain initializing forever. So if you've had several goes and it's going wrong, go into Kindle, delete the previous versions of that, and then try again. Well, let's come back to this. So we're going to save in this folder, but let's look at the options first. We've got the default Kindle output style, but let's look at this. So pictures, no, I want to keep the pictures, that's fine, I'm good with that. Text, export drop cap as native text. That's a newer feature in Kindle, but they all support it. Table of contents. Now, this is the important one. Use list as TOC palette. That's going to use my list to find my articles. eStation, we're not using that. And page layout, we're not doing a fixed layout, so none of that's relevant. And we've not got any footnotes. Okay, so are you ready? So we're going to export. We'll open eBook after export. We'll now export it and see what happens. saxonthief.mobi already exists. Right, okay. Now it's going to ask me if I want to collect the fonts or not. If you have copyright permission to use your fonts, you can use them. If you don't, you better get something which is up to you to use. Well, that's going to take a moment to do. I'll now tell you a little bit more about this. Oh, it's come through already, so we'll come and look at that straight away. So here is the document. We'll go to that table of contents. We'll go to the cover first. And look, our covers come through. That's quite nice. We've got there's no table of contents page because that's implicit. But rather, the table of contents is down the side here. Now, in fact, I think we can, maybe not. We didn't include that. So. Oh, it's got a search index now as well. All the usual Kindle things. And just like any other Kindle, you've got all the frustrations of Kindle. Now look at that. It's got my runic font in there. That's great because I put that in. And you're always going to check for any unusual fonts what's going on. So you'll see that's there. This is a story set in the Anglo-Saxons. You've got to use some runes. Everybody does. But there we are. And you can now upload that to Amazon. Amazon will run, if it's for Kindle, will run a mechanical check on it. And within a few hours, they will tell you that your file is acceptable or not. To do an ePub, so which is suitable for Apple's iTunes Store or just to send around to people, it's not got a digital rights management necessarily built in, then you do the same thing, just export ePub, all the options are the same. If you want to play around with it, then there's an application called Calibre, which I think is Windows, Mac and Linux. It's a free application which will enable you to edit things afterwards in your ePub or Kindle if you're not happy with exactly what's come out. And also, if you have any problems, to be able to track them down. Well, that is, in a nutshell, ePubs. That's the flow type. The fixed layout type is really very easy. Just do it the same way as HTML5 and then export as ePub. However, remember that not all readers will support all the features. And basically, that's it. Well, I hope you found that useful, helpful, and informative. I'm Martin Turner, author of Desktop Publishing with QuarkXPress 2017. The book is now available. Please do get yourself a copy if you haven't already got one. If you've got one, thank you for buying. And I look forward to seeing you next time when we're going to be talking about conditional styles.